Hello everyone, welcome to this week's installment of Layman's View. This is where we review a week that was. Ake sibheke ukuthi ngabe leli sonto belisiphatheleni ngaphandle kaSweet Guluva. Hey, sike savelelo Sweet Guluva. Before attack ngimvotelile, nami ngimvotelile Sweet Guluva. Mawukuthi akamvoteli kuSweet Guluva, ngiyaqhuqhuzela ukuthi umvotele. Angiyibuki Big Brother. Kodwa ngitsheliwe ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi sivotele uSweet Guluva. So I hope you voted for uSweet Guluva and ngicabanga ukuthi uzobuya nayo Big Brother this coming Sunday. Let's get on with the stories of the week. Let's look at some of the big stories that came out of this week. I'm Ntobeko Khuluse and this is podcast radio and stuff. Some of the stories that stood out for me besides Sweet Guluva, it has to be the day that we were celebrating yesterday, Human Rights Day. Human Rights Day is a big day in South Africa. One, it's a public holiday. We love public holidays. But also, it's a day that looks to celebrate human rights. And you know, kuthiwa la South Africa, ama-rights abantu, abaluleke kakhulu. In fact, our constitution is seen by some as the best constitution in the world because it puts human rights at the center of everything. But let's go back a little bit. This day that we were celebrating yesterday, on the 21st of March, used to be known as a Sharpeville Day. Lapho kuusuku khona abantu abawu-69 badlula khona emhlabeni ngenkathi belwela ukuthi bangaphathi oDombas uma ngabe behamba eSouth Africa ngoba siyazi ukuthi umthetho oqala owuphoqa ukuthi uphamba uphethe uDombas uma ngabe iphoyisa le-apartheid licela uDombas ungawuphethe uDombas wawuyithola usenkingeni mawuhamba edrobheni sitshelwa lokho sasingekho ngekuthina sibancane kodwa lo suku lihambe lahamba kwathi mangabe sengena idemocracy lashintshwa ekubeni iSharpeville Day kwathiwa iHuman Rights Day. Kunalabo abanombono wokuthi akuhle ukuthi lo suku silibize ngeHuman Rights Day ngoba we are distorting history. We need to call it what it is. Ngikhuluma nje iEFF bi celebrate lona lo suku la ngomhla ka21 March. iEFF ilibize ngeSharpeville Day. Futhi bil celebrate eSharpeville. Kodwa ngibone i-official celebration ka-government ebise Eastern Cape addresswa u-Deputy President Paul Mashatile. Yona ibibizwa nge-Human Rights Day. So bekwama-celebrations e-human rights. Utheni umbono wakho ngalokuhluka kwembono kwalosuku olukhulu kangaka nolubaluleke kangaka? Khona labo bazwayo and isikhathi esiningi ilaba ababizwa ngama-radicals abathi hayi akukho right ukuthi lo suku silibize ngokuthi it's Human Rights Day ngoba it's a Sharpeville Day. 69 people died on that day because they were fighting for our freedom. Hundreds of others were injured on that day, and let's call it what it is and commemorate their suffering and their loss of life fighting for our rights, while others are like, you know what, now we are a rainbow nation, we are one people, we are living together in this country and we are happy together. Let's call it something a little bit more neutral, something that will accommodate everyone. Let's not call it Sharpeville Day, let's call it Human Rights Day. Everyone celebrates human rights. Everyone wants us to have rights, so let's call it Human Rights Day. That's the big argument that was taking place yesterday. Seeing some people saying, hey, don't tell me about Human Rights Day. It's a Sharpeville Day. But others are like, no, it's a Human Rights Day because it includes everyone. There are a whole lot of other reasons why it's called Human Rights Day. But I'd love to know your thoughts on that one. Did you celebrate yesterday Human Rights Day, or was it Sharpeville Day for you? I would really love to know your thoughts. But that's the first story that stood out for me, and that's the first action that came out of this past week that stood out for me. Moving on to a second story that stood out for me this past week. In fact, it's a story that develops every day. It's the story of our ambassador in the United States of America, Ebrahim Rasool. So Ebrahim Rasool is coming back to South Africa, and in fact he will be landing, if he has not landed already by the time you watch this, he'll be landing on Sunday at 11 here in South Africa. And we saw COSATU in the Western Cape, where they had a media briefing, and COSATU said they will give him a hero's welcome to South Africa because they believe that he stood up to Donald Trump. He stood up to a bully, that is Donald Trump. So COSATU is saying, well done, Ebrahim Rasool, and he deserves a hero's welcome when he comes back to South Africa. And I saw a statement by the presidency, Vincent Magwenya, who's the spokesperson of President Ramaphosa. And Vincent Magwenya was saying, the presidency is not encouraging celebrations of welcoming, and I'm paraphrasing here, of welcoming Ebrahim Rasool and provoking America, because that may seem like we are provoking America and we are provoking Donald Trump, because President Ramaphosa has now taken it upon himself to sort out the relationship between the USA and South Africa. So anything that we do as South Africans that provokes Trump might not help that relationship or trying to mend the relationship. That's my interpretation of what Vincent Magwenya was saying. To say, mangabebuya Ebrahim Rasool lo obe ambassador yase America. Well, yase South Africa America. Mase celebrate kakhulu simncoma ngakwenzile. Lokho kungenzeka umcasula uDonald Trump. So azama ukwehlisa singa celebrate kakhulu this hero's welcome that COSATU spoke of. We should, tone it down a little bit. Kungabe ngathi siyakucelebrate okwashiwo uEbrahim Rasool ngo Donald Trump, ngoba siyazi ukuthi into edine America into ayisho kwi-webinar lapho khona ayethi uDonald Trump noma Make America Great Again, a movement, is a right-wing movement that is led by Donald Trump with white supremacy. So the question is, will you be celebrating the return of Ebrahim Rasool? In fact, do you see Ebrahim Rasool as a hero, as someone that stood up to Donald Trump and stood his ground? Or do you think, no, we should not celebrate this, and in fact, he might have done well, but for the sake of the relationship of South Africa and the USA, we should not celebrate his return and not give him a hero's welcome? I would love to know your thoughts on that one. Do you think we should celebrate Ebrahim Rasool? He did well, and every South African should be proud of him. Or no, let's hold our horses so President Ramaphosa can sort out the relationship between SA and RSA and USA. That's the first part of this discussion that I'm having around Ebrahim Rasool. And then the second part of the discussion is, who should replace Ebrahim Rasool as an ambassador of South Africa to the USA? Who should replace Ebrahim Rasool? I've had people say, a lot of people, many suggestions. I would love to know who you think is the best person to represent South Africa in the USA. I've had people thinking, maybe we need to send someone that is not too radical, someone that probably is seen as neutral, or someone, I've heard people saying Tony Leon, for instance, saying maybe let's send Tony Leon to America as our ambassador, who used to be the leader of the DA. I've heard people saying Kali Krill, I think it's called Kali Krill, the leader of what is that movement for Afrikaans-speaking people that went to America to report us to Donald Trump. Why am I forgetting them? Maybe I should forget them. Oh, it's AfriForum. Yeah, well, I should forget them, But anyway, AfriForum Kali Krill is the leader. He is the leader of AfriForum. Some people are saying probably he's the best person to sort out this mess because he created this mess. I've had some people saying Naledi Pandor because he's an experienced diplomat. I mean, she was the Minister of Foreign Affairs here in South Africa. So some people are saying maybe, Naledi Pandor might be the best positioned person to solve that relationship. I'm not sure because she was instrumental in sending or taking Israel to the International Court of Justice. And we know that America is friends with Israel. So I don't think I know they have not taken kindly to us sending, or rather taking Israel to ICJ. So if Naledi Pandor is to, now she's a doctor actually, Dr. Naledi Pandor was to be sent to America as an ambassador, that would be interesting because she's got very strong views about what's happening in Israel and Palestine. And we know that America sides with Israel and we have taken a side of the Palestinians. So that would be very interesting. And then I've had some people suggest, Trevor Manuel, who is also my preferred candidate, by the way. Trevor Manuel has strong views on what it means to be a South African, but also he understands the markets and is loved by the markets. So probably at this time, he would be the best person for the job, to try and smooth things for us in America. I would choose Trevor Manuel. Who would you choose as our next ambassador to the USA? Please do go into the comment section and share your thoughts. As the last story to wrap up this edition of of Layman's View here on Podcast Radio and Stuff, I would like to look at the MK Party. What about the MK Party? There are by-elections that keep happening, and some by-elections are won by the ANC, others by the DA, and we've seen some being won by the MK Party. But I would like to focus on the MK Party. And I'll tell you why I'm focusing on the MK Party. It's because there's been some talks about MK Party having lost its momentum here in KZN and elsewhere in the country. And people are saying, that excitement that was there about the MK Party is no longer there. But we saw the MK Party win an election in Richmond, Ward 2. When I talk Richmond here in KZN, this is the same area where the ANC had an event where it was welcoming members, former members of the ANC back to the ANC from the MK Party. So basically they were saying, khona abantu ababemember ANC bahamba bajoyina MK sebeyabuya beza kwi-ANC. Lokho kwenzeke just before by-elections. It was early in February, if I'm not mistaken. Deputy President of the country and of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, went there, addressed their organization and other event, and welcomed these former ANC members, former MK members back into the ANC. And many people were saying, MK Party is in trouble. MK Party is in trouble. Look, people are now leaving the MK Party, going back to their home, the ANC. And then elections happened, by-elections that is. They happened, I think about 2 weeks ago. We saw ANC win that ward. And the question was, okay, what happened? Where are the people that ANC was welcoming back from the MK party. And as recent as early this week or last week, depending on when you watch this, we saw the MK party win a by-election in the Western Cape in a place called Saldanha Bay. What won? MK party in the Western Cape winning an election. That's an area where you would expect a party like Patriotic Alliance to win. But it was the MK party that won. So what's happening there by the MK party that is making them win these elections? Is the SG, Floyd Shivambu, cooking something that we are not understanding? That when we are looking at it from the surface, we think MK party, they are fighting amongst themselves. It's Duduzile Zuma versus the SG, Floyd Shivambu, and there are a whole lot of other people that are unhappy with Floyd. There were issues with their salaries. So there are a lot of organizational issues that are happening with the MK party currently. But with those organizational issues, we are still seeing MK party win by elections. And that's very interesting, especially in an area like the Western Cape or a province like the Western Cape, even if it's just one ward, because the ANC has been seen as largely a party that is strong in KZN and Gauteng, some parts of Gauteng as well as Mpumalanga. So to see the MK party start to win some by-elections in areas like Saldanha Bay, that's quite interesting. And it makes me wonder, what is it that the SG, Floyd Shivambu, with the president of the MK party, Jacob Zuma, what is it that they are cooking? What do you think is happening there by the MK party? Please feel free to go and share your thoughts. That has been a layman's view here on podcast radio and stuff. Please remember to subscribe, share this video, like, comment, and tell everyone that there's this thing called podcast radio and stuff. In short, PRS. Catch me tomorrow with Ntokozo Chapa as we have a beautiful discussion around radio with a great guest. You don't want to miss that chat. Thank you for watching this episode. Until this time, let's catch up again in another video. Have a great week ahead.